Hi, my name is Leandro Facchinetti, and let's write some code together, shall we? What we have on the menu today is part 5 of this series of streams in which I am live coding a REAPER script to explode media items into the different streams. So if you have recorded some video, for instance, and that's my use case, that's the motivation for this. If you have recorded a video in OBS or any other tool that produces a video file with different audio streams, so one audio stream is your microphone, another audio stream is the sound from your computer and so forth, then you load that file in REAPER and you only have access to the first stream or the first audio track. And when editing, you want to have access to the different tracks. So what our action is going to do is to take that file and explode it into the different streams that compose the file. Note that this is not necessarily multi-channel, because you may have different tracks that are stereo or quadraphonic. It doesn't really matter. They are different sound sources. So you can think of this as different, like a microphone and a computer, or you can think of it as a soundtrack in a language and a soundtrack in another language for a movie or something like that. And whatever the case may be, if you have files with different streams, they may even be multiple video streams, our action is going to explode that. And the way the action works is that it is a REAPER action that calls ffmpeg on the command line to do the actual work on the files. And we have already coded in the previous sessions. We went on detail over how to create one of these files. I showed how to configure OBS to produce one of these files. We are able to find the file that is behind the video item in REAPER. So I guess it's better if I show you. So here I have a video file that I have recorded in a previous stream. And this video file has multiple audio streams. One is the microphone, one is the computer. And the action is able to find the MKV behind this media item. It's able to call ffmpeg to detect what are the video streams or audio streams in the file. Then it's able to call ffmpeg to actually explode that file into multiple files, one for each stream. And it's even able to add tracks to hold the media items that we are producing. So this one has 3 media items within. And when I run this action, it generates 3 subtracks that will accommodate the 3 items with the 3 streams in this file after the explosion. So our job for today is to actually put the items here on the timeline. Because we already have the tracks to contain the items, we just have to insert the items backed by the files that we have already produced. In fact, under the videos folder over here, you'll see, oh, actually it's not producing right now. I have commented out this part of the code because while testing other things about the addition of tracks, I didn't want to actually produce a lot of these files. But I can do this. And then as I save, when I save a rescript, it runs the rescript. So now I can see the files that were created right here. So the files are already in place and the tracks are already in place. All we have to do is to put the media items corresponding to the files. That's our job for today. So to do this, I think that the first part is to know the names of the files, because we are producing here file names that are unique. And if I run this action again, you will see here in the folder that there are 3 new items with unique names. There is this 002 at the end to guarantee that they are unique. So I am producing different file names based on the contents of the directory. I check if a file name already exists, and if so, I generate a new one until I get a file name that does not exist. And in the last stream, we found a bug about this. We are not doing 100% the right thing, so there is a to-do here for us to address. But never mind that, because that's more or less an edge case. So what we will do instead is focus on the main cases So suppose that we are able to generate new unique names every time. And this is the case here because I have only one file selected. So we will be able to generate just one unique name for each stream. And we need to get a hold of these names because we are doing the conversion here at this point, and we are finding the unique file name here. But then later, after the tracks, so this part of the code down below is doing the insertion of the tracks. And at this point right here, at the end of the script as of now, we will need to place new items into the timeline, and we will need the names of the files that were generated. So let's see what's going on in this part of the code where the file names are being generated and see where we should store the file names that are generated. And I think I already have a data structure here for medias to convert. And these medias to convert will be used later on. For instance, here to detect how many tracks I need to create. So I think it's reasonable for me to place this information about the file name in the medias to convert data structure. And I guess it makes sense as well. It's not only a convenient place, but it's also a meaningful place to put this because I am saying, oh, these are the medias to convert, and this is the name to which the media has been converted or will be converted, depending on where you are in the code base here. But this is the resulting media file that was generated by the conversion. So here on this, at this point, after this loop, at this point right here, is where we are appending to the command that will convert. So we are calling ffmpeg to convert the files, and we are still constructing, on this part that is highlighted, we are constructing the command that will run. But at this point, we do have the unique file name that will be used. It's right here, it's being used, and we do have access to the stream. So I suppose that we can just say stream and file equals to file. And just by doing this, now we have stored the file that we are going to use for that media in the streams list. And each media item that we select, here we only have one, but we could have multiple. Each media item that we select will have associated with it a list of streams. And now in the list of streams, we will have access to the file name. So at this point, at the end of this script, I think that what we need to do is we need to loop over the medias to convert again. I'm copying the loop, but just because I care about... Oh, I actually care more than I was expecting. I thought I would only care about this line, but actually, so what this is doing is it's looping over the medias to convert. So if I have multiple items selected, it's looping over that. And it's getting me a key, which I don't care about because this is a list, and a value, which I do care about because this value has all the information I know at this point about the file and about the streams in the file and so forth. Now I need to get a hold of the media. I need to get a hold of the media track. So I need to get a hold of this track on which the item is, because at this point in the script, the tracks have already been created. I will have tracks over here. And I did in the past, and that's where I copied this from, I did in the past get a hold of this track because I wanted to create tracks underneath. I had to know where I would create those tracks. So I already have somewhere in the code where I have captured this track, but the track has changed because we may have created new tracks. So suppose I have selected another item over here. So this track used to be number 2 before the script started, and I selected both of them. But then after the script started running, at this point, we will have a situation that looks more like this. So this track that used to be number 2 now is track number 5. So we cannot just reuse, we cannot capture this information from the past and reuse it. And I don't think there would be much value in doing that anyway, because it's very cheap for us to just get a hold of the media track again. So what we are doing here is we are getting hold of the media item that has been selected. Now we are getting the track on which the media item is, because the track may have changed as we added new tracks here in this part of the code. Then we do need the track number. Yes, we do need the track number, because we will have to create media items on track numbers right below the current one. So we need that number to get the next ones. And we know that the next ones will be there because we have created the next tracks here in this part of the code. So we do need the track number, and then we don't need this part, because that is part of the code that was gathering how many tracks to create, but we have already done that. So at this point, we have to loop over the streams in the media. And I believe I have that somewhere already, so I'll try to copy and paste. Let's try to find this. Yes, so here we have a loop that is looping over the streams in the media. Let's see. Yeah, indentation is correct. Let's see how much of this I care about. So we have a loop over the media streams. Hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have a bad case of allergies this morning. So we are looping over the streams in the media. That seems reasonable. We are getting the stream index, which is important because we will need that along with the track number to build the number of the track on which the new media item will go. And we will definitely need some information about the stream. More specifically, we will need the stream file. So over here, there is this loop that is creating new names. That is not necessary in this case, and this part is doing a loop to... This part is not doing a loop. This part is adding command parts to the conversion command, and I don't think I need most of what is here. Yeah, so I'll just delete all of these, and I will keep this around because this will be necessary. But now we need to look at the Reaper API, so there is here a link to open, or a button to open the Reaper API, and we need to find a way to add items. Add media item to track. And then add take to media item. I suppose that will be important, but I will keep searching because I believe there may be, I may be misremembering this, but I think that there is already a function in the Reaper API that allows me to add a media item to a track and to associate that media item with a file. I wonder if this is already that. No, so I have here just something that creates a new media item based on a track, and this creates a new take based on an item. So no, let's keep searching. Count and split and count and get media items. Create. That's sort of interesting. Create new media item. That's near. get and move and get set. Okay, get set media item info. We will need this, and maybe even that. Yeah, I think we will need this because we will need to have like whether the original item is muted or not is important. We will need to get a hold of this information because we will need to make the items that we create and muted or not as well, depending on whether the original item was muted. So we will need, I think, to set that information. I don't know if it's going to be on this function. There is another function for numbers and Boolean values. This is just for string values, like the name of the item, but I think it will be something that we may need. So this is all about getting and selecting and updating. Did not find anything. I'll do another search because I'm pretty sure that that what I'm looking for exists. It may be under PCM here. Yeah, so look at that. Here it is. So PCM is for pulse code modulation. It is about audio, but after Reaper has introduced video features as well, the video features are under the PCM. I think we used some of the PCM functions to get a hold of the file that let's see. No, we did not use one of those. We're just using the source function. But some of the PCM functions are ways for you to connect to that source, to that original material on disk, to the WAV files effectively. So yeah, under PCM, there is a PCM source create from file. I think that's somewhere where we want, yeah, we want to go there. So see PCM source create from file X, probably for extended. Create a PCM source from file name and override preferences of MIDI files being imported as in-project MIDI events. Okay, I'm not interested in MIDI stuff. So yeah, I don't think there is a way for me to do this all in one pass. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to... I set this rule to myself that I would not look into my existing scripts because I think it's kind of cheating since I'm doing a stream and I'm trying to show the process of creating one of these scripts. But I think it's reasonable to sometimes Google around or look at your previous scripts and try to borrow some stuff. So I do have here a script that integrates Reaper with OBS. And in this script, I am sure that I need to add a media item with the video recorded in OBS. I need to add that to Reaper. So I already have written some code here that does that. So let's see how this works. It uses the add media item to track, which we have found here. And then it does some of the set media item info value. We found the one for info strings, but info values should be near. And because we're gonna need to change the position, the length, and so forth. And then the add take to media item, we found that one as well. So it seems like there is no magic. I was just misremembering. So we are able to create a take into the media item and then a PCM source. And then I have to set the media item to that source and then set some offset. We'll need that as well. And then we probably will need to build missing peaks. So yeah, it seems like all of this is more or less what we want to do. I wonder if I should just copy and paste this or if I should recreate this from scratch. think I'm going to leave this aside as a reference, but I will recreate everything from scratch. Because first of all, I don't really remember everything that went into this. And also because we are streaming, I think it's beneficial for me to recreate these things. So let's come back here to the documentation and recreate this from scratch. So what I do have right now in our script is I have the file that I want to associate the thing with, and I have the track number of the parent track. So now I want to get a hold of the track to insert a media item into the track. To get a hold of this track, I can use we used this in a previous stream, we can use get track. And get track will return the media track on which the media item is. So let's come back here to Reaper, and I'll call this the stream track. And the rear project is number 0. I have explained this several times in this stream, but it's possible for you to have multiple tabs of Reaper projects open, and your Reaper actions may work on multiple projects open in multiple tabs. So our script doesn't care about this, so we pass the number 0, which represents the current project. That's the one we care about all the time. So 365 expression says in the chat, "You are the best, bro." Oh, thank you. You are the best. So we want the Reaper project number 0, and we want the track index, which is the track number, that's our parent, plus the stream index minus 1. So let's dive into what's happening here. I guess the best way to show it is like this. So we are here in a position that looks like this in the timeline. Or maybe I should show the first example. Yeah, so it looks like this in the timeline. We have selected the track number 1. So when we get the track number, it should be the number 1. And then we have a stream index, which is an index into a Lua list or a Lua table. And these are 1 indexed. So the first stream index is the number 1. So track number 1 plus stream index number 1 gives us number 2. That's the track we want to select. But when you get a track number like this, it gives you this number. But when we are getting a track using the get track function, it is 0 based. So it doesn't start with the number 1, it starts with the number 0. So that's why we subtract 1. And this happens all over in Lua and in Reaper. Things in Lua, like Lua tables when used as lists, which is our case right here. This is a Lua table being used as a list. Lua tables when used as lists are indexed starting with the number 1. Tracks here in the Reaper interface start with the number 1. But in many parts of the Reaper API, things start with the number 0. So you have to keep juggling the numbers like that. And it's often something that happens that you get off by 1 mistake in your code. So this is the stream track. And now we can come back here to add media item to track. So I'll call this the stream media item. And we need to pass the track on which we want to create the item. So that is the track in which we want to create the item. And we still have to set some properties of this item. We need to set its position in the timeline. So whether it will be right here below or if it will be in the beginning or the end. And we need to set the length of this media item. And we need to add a take to the media item, and we need to add a source to that take. There is still a lot more work to do. But I am curious to know what happens if I just run this. Will it put some media items somewhere? How long will the media items be? So let's just run this. I'm going to save and that will run, but I did not select anything. So I'll select this guy and I'll run start. And it seems like it did not add any media items we can see. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So let's check this out. I will delete the tracks. I will even delete this track, and I will run this again. So it does create media items because we told it to create media items. But because we did not specify a length or a position for this media item, it doesn't show up in the timeline. So what I'm gonna do is set the media length and the media position. So we have already added a media item to track. We can close this. And then we have a get set media item info string. And that is for notes, and we don't really care about any of these. So let's look for the get set media item info value, if that exists. No. So probably this is named something else. I'll look for underscore value because I think that is what we are gonna need. So this is for media track, get media item info value, and if there is a get, I must assume there is a set media item info value. Of course there is. So get media item info value is a way for us to, given a media item, it will return to us something like, is this media item muted or not? Because we can come here and mute this item settings mute. So this item is muted, and we can get a hold of this information in the rescript. We will need this. And we will also need its position and length. So if we set these two properties, I am pretty sure that the media item will show up in the timeline. And what is the position and length that we want? Well, we want to copy the position and length of the parent item. So we are going to do some inspection on the media item. So we have here the media item. We're going to do some inspection of the media item before we begin. So before we begin the loop. So we have collected some information about the track. Now let's collect some information about the item, which is position. And then I will call get media item info value with the media item. And as the parameter name, I will say position. And the same goes for the length. And what else do we care about? We care about whether it's muted. We probably would care about more things that I don't know, like mute actual, mute solo, loop. Probably when you... So why do I care about whether the track, the media item is muted, and then I try to copy that information to the new items I'm creating? Well, I am copying the behavior of another Reaper action that already exists, which is also called explode something. It's called explode multi-channel audio. And what it does is it takes your multi-channel audio, like your stereo audio, and it breaks it apart into single channel items. So if you have a stereo audio, it will produce two single mono files. And we are copying the behavior of that because what we are doing is very similar, except that we are not working on the level of channels. We are working on the level of streams within a file. And in previous streams, I investigated what this action did, and it does copy the state of whether the thing is muted. And I must assume that it copies some of these, all of these. It copies some of these as well, but I don't know which. So I wonder if I should copy all of them, or if I should investigate which ones are copied, or better yet, if there is something like a way to clone or duplicate or copy. No, I wonder if there is a way for me to just do what we can do by holding command or control on a PC and dragging the item. We can create an exact copy which will hold all the values we care about, like whether the thing is muted or not. And if we did that and changed just the source underneath, that could be a better way to do this, but I couldn't find anything that would copy media items. I would just Google real quick for rescript, copy, or clone, or copy media item. How to copy items only with API, how to copy and paste this script, copy selected media item to something, to track position. Okay, so this is using existing actions. So it is using existing actions and it's calling existing actions. Something I guess I could do. I don't know. So this is getting the media item and moving a media item. No. Yeah. I would just copy some of the values that I know I care about, like mute, position and length, and offset. Maybe volume as well. I don't know. I'll copy some of them. And I think it will be good enough. Until someone complains, it will be good enough. And if someone complains, then I may look into this other idea of trying to copy the item and then changing its source underneath. But for now, I will proceed with the idea of adding new items and just copying some of the information that I care about. So I know I need mute. And I know I need offset. Is it in here somewhere? Mute, loop, source, auto, volume, position, and length. We got those already. Snap offset. No, I don't really care about the snap offset. Fades, group ID. Where is that? I know there is an offset situation. Start offset. Oh, okay. So the start offset has to do with the take, not with the media item. I explained this already in the first stream in which we traversed this data structure to get information about the media items that we are converting, but I think it's advantageous for me to explain this again. So the data structure in Reaper is, there are projects. In the projects there are tracks. In the tracks there are media items. A media item contains one or more takes. In this case there is only one take, but if I were to record over this, it would create two different takes. You can see them as two different lanes on the track. So an item may have multiple takes. Each take is associated with a source, and the source is the file in the file system. It's literally where the video or audio exists. So what we are doing now is more or less we are recreating that structure. Over here in the first lines of this script, I am traversing this data structure and getting information out. So I'm starting with the media item, and then I go to the take, the active one, not just any take. I go to the take, and then I go to the source, and then I get the file name for that source. Now what I need to do is kind of the reverse. I need to create a media item and create a take for that media item and create a PCM source associated with a file and associate that with the take. So some of the information I care about, like the position and length, has to do with the media item, which is like this box. But some of the information has to do with the take in the media item. And that specifically, I care about the offset, because suppose that I have offset, and to offset, I believe you hold Option on a Mac, and I suppose it's Alt on a PC, and then you click and hold, and you are doing a start offset of this item. So if this is the beginning of the video, now the media item is going to start in the middle of the video, and then it's going to wrap around and start the video over at this point. So you can do an offset of the item, and we need to be aware of this offset, because we need to copy this offset to the new items that we are creating. So some of the information is on the media item, some of the information is on the take, and some of the information is on the source, which is associated with the take. Okay, so let's come back here to the things that I care about in the media item. So mute, I do care about, and I'll just do this one more time to make sure I'm not missing anything. So stretch, lock, probably I would need to copy this as well. Volume, position and length, snap offset. The snaps offset is something I don't care about. So it's this little anchor right here, which is relevant when we are doing music, but it's probably not relevant in our case. I don't know, the more I look into this, the more I'm concerned about how many things I would need to copy over, like the fades, to make this actually correct. But I don't think that most people would care about this, so custom color, active take number. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know this was here. Free mode Y and W. I will not copy most of these, so I am done with this. Okay, so now I'm ready to just get all the information I want, like position and length and mute. And I'm getting this information before I start the loop, because the information will be the same. I'm still talking about this media item right here, even though there will be 3 children tracks. The information about the media item will not change, so it's fair for me to get the information before the loop. And now I will set the information for this item that I have created, this item right here. I will set all these 3 properties. So what I need to do is reopen that tab. Yes, so it's right here. I will copy this over. So set media item info value. Which media item? My string media item. Which parameter? One of these, starting with the position. And what is the new value? The position that I captured over here. And now I will copy and paste this 2 times, because I also care about the length, the mute state, and of course I'll update this as well. So now let's delete this track, select this item, and run this action by saving it. And we are creating new items in the right positions with the right duration, and I suppose the right mute state as well, because if I undo by hitting Command Z and I come here to item settings and mute this and then run this again, the items will be muted. And because there is no material to play, these are empty items, and they don't just, I don't think they show any different because they are muted, but they are muted. We need to trust the code. So now the media item is in place. Let's create a take for that media item. And we have already found a way to do this, which is this. Yes, right here. So local stream take, add take to media item, my stream media item. And then let's see if I care about some of the information on the take. Let's see, get set media item take info string. So that is the string part of this. And then the take name and persistent data and global unique identifier. I don't care about any of the string parameters of the take. So let's see, media item take info value. And I'll close some of these tabs. I'm getting confused. So this is my search tab. This is the tab in which I have something that I have already used. And this one, I have the media take info value, which is exactly what I care about right now. This is for creating a source from a file. I will care about this in a moment. It seems like this tab is the same as this one. Yeah, they are on the same part of the API. And then this tab has to do with media items. I have already used that. So let's see. Now the take, I care about the start offset and probably some of these other things as well. Oh, so this is interesting. This is going to be the PCM source, which I will have created over here. Note that if setting this, you should first retrieve the old source, set the new, then delete the old. Well, in this case, we don't have an old source. We don't have any source associated with the take yet. But it seems like we will need this. So yeah, let's get some of the information on the parent first. Oh, so before we can do this, we already have a media item and a track, but we now need some information about the take, the active take in that track, in that media item, because we need to get the same offset from there. So what we should do is, well, we can copy and paste ourselves here and get the active take. So we have some information about the track, and this is some information about the media. Now let's get the take with the media item. And then I will care about the start offset and probably about the volume and pan and pitch and channel mode, track and item. Not really, not any of these. And I do care about the source because this is going to be late. It's going to be necessary later. But anyway, so now let's use this to get the start offset, which I am going to get from this take, and the parameter name is this. Then I can delete that. And now later here, when we create a new take, I will pass the take as an argument, and I will use, instead of get media item info value, I will use set media item info value. Yeah, that is a long way of changing one letter from G to S, but I prefer to copy and paste these things because it's easy to make mistakes. So the stream take, the parameter name, and then the value that I want to assign, which is start offset. Now, I don't think we will be able to see a lot because there is no source associated with this take. So I'm not even going to bother testing this. Let's do the rest, which is to associate a source with this take, and then we test. So when setting, I cannot change the p source when setting a media item take info value. right? I see start offset, volume, pan, pitch, channel mode, custom color, and take number, but I cannot see the p source. So it seems like there is some other way to associate a p source. Let's first create the p source. So I already know the file name. It is under the stream. We have collected that in the beginning of this session. So we have under the stream, we have the file field. Is that what I called it? Yes, it is. Stream file. Yes, it is. Stream file. So here I have source, and we need to associate the source with the take. I'll look for source. Get media item take source, get media item file name. Okay, set media item take source. It seems like this is the one we need. So let's see. It does take a take and a source as options, as parameters. And set media source of media item take. The old source will not be destroyed, but there is no old source for us. It is the caller's responsibility to retrieve it and destroy it after. I'll scroll it so it's not under my face. If source already exists in any project, it will duplicate it before being set. C and C++ should not use this and instead use blah 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 with p source to manage ownership directly. Okay, so most of this applies to when you are changing the source of an existing item, but we have just created a new item and we have just created a new file. So for sure this file will not appear in any other media item. It has not existed up to this point. So we are safe to just use this without having to worry about ownership. So here we just set media item and our take is our stream take. Our source is, well, it's that. And now I think we are ready to test this. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to come here and save. So it did create 3 new items under 3 new tracks, and it did set the offset right, and it associated some of the files with the sources right here, and it set the offset just fine. So it seems like everything is working. There is only one wrinkle, which is something we already saw here when we peeked at my OBS extension. It is right here. The problem is that it's not showing the peaks. And now I went to another program and came back, which forces Reaper to calculate the peaks again. So now it's showing the peaks. But we would like the action to just show us the peaks as soon as we run the action. So what I'm going to do is copy and paste this. Yes, I am cheating now. But right after I have introduced all the media items, everything in this loop has already occurred, I'm going to build any missing peaks. So now let's try this again. I'm selecting this, I'm saving, and now this is exploding stuff and putting it in the timeline. I wonder what happens when I undo. It works. I was curious about this because sometimes when you're using something like this, it breaks Command Z or Control Z if you're on a PC. So sometimes that happens. And the reason why it happens is weird and complicated, but you can just write some simple code around your. So it would like start right here and then end right here, and it would say, okay, all of this is one undo block. So often when you're using these kinds of commands, you need to do that. But in our case, it seems like we are good to go. So I will leave here a fix me. Is there a way to just copy the existing item and change the source underneath instead of creating new items and copying properties by hand? Because maybe there is a way for us to clean this up. But there you have it. I think we have succeeded. we can delete all these tracks. I will delete all the files as well. And I will run the action and see that, yes, this first one does not have peaks. I should mention that this is expected behavior because this first one is the video. So it does not have any peaks. This is the stream with the video material. These are the two streams with the audio from the microphone and from the computer. So the action is doing what we want it to do, more or less. There's still a lot to do though. We need to think about all the to-dos that we left here in the code. But more importantly, we need to think about distribution, because currently the way this works is it's calling FFmpeg in the place where FFmpeg is installed on my machine. Of course, in your machine, FFmpeg may be installed in a different place. So what we need to do is we need to think about how we are going to distribute this. My preference is to ship FFmpeg with my rescript. So when you install my rescript, it will also install FFmpeg in a place where I know, and I can just call it. And I will be managing that FFmpeg installation, so I know that the version matches the versions that work with the files that I care about. So I think that the best way to distribute this is to distribute executables for FFmpeg as well. And of course, I have to distribute executables for Mac, Linux, and Windows. And maybe even different versions of like the architectures. So I will have to distribute for Mac on Intel and ARM, and on Windows for ARM as well. So I guess I can just probably do whatever REAPER FM is doing. So whatever they are supporting. So it seems like on Windows they don't support ARM. It doesn't seem. And on Linux they do support ARM. And on Mac OS they do support ARM. So I guess what I will do is just copy that and distribute for all these platforms. And I will distribute using repack, which is what I use to distribute all my other extensions. And I can distribute FFmpeg as data, as an executable, but it's just extra pieces of data, which is not a script, it's not an effect, a JS effect. It's just another piece of data that I can distribute with my extension. So that's what I'm going to do next. I think that the next stream is going to be me figuring out this distribution problem. And then on later streams, we will address Windows support. We will address all the fix-mes in the code. There are still some bugs there. I will look into this idea of copying items instead of doing everything by hand like we did in this stream. And then I think we will be done. So I said last week that we would be done last week. Now I'm saying that we will be done this week. I'm always optimistic, so we'll see. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting this channel by subscribing, by supporting me on Patreon and PayPal, and just by showing up to the streams and saying things like 365 Expression said, you are the best. All of you who are watching this are the best. I see you on the next one. Bye.